Arlo Vayne was mesmerizing. His smile, broad and genuine, his eyes warm and inviting, his words dripping with empathy and understanding. He promised a life free from fear, doubt, and insecurity. All you had to do was listen. Millions did.
Sienna Hall watched him, a knot of unease twisting in her gut. She wasn't buying it. The self-help guru with his best-selling books and sold-out seminars seemed too perfect. Her editor had dismissed her concerns. He called it harmless fluff. Sienna knew better, there was always a story, and this one she could feel it, reeked. Echelon Rising, Vayne's organization, was holding a retreat. A weekend of transformation, they called it. It was Sienna's ticket in. She adopted a new name, a fabricated backstory, and a desperate need for change. She paid the exorbitant fee, swallowed her apprehension, and walked through the doors of the retreat center.
The other attendees were a mix of lost souls and eager devotees, all searching for something. I blended in, observing, listening. I attended the group sessions, diligently taking notes. I participated in the trust exercises, my skin crawling. All the while I documented everything, searching for the dark underbelly of Vayne's empire.
Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The passage of time seemed both swift and sluggish, a paradox that Sienna found herself grappling with daily. Each sunrise brought new challenges, and each sunset left her with more questions than answers. Sienna excelled at the program. She threw herself into every task, every discussion, and every workshop with a fervor that surprised even her. Her dedication was unwavering, and her progress was undeniable. She became a beacon of hope for others, a shining example of what could be achieved with hard work and determination. She became a model student, praised for her vulnerability and progress. The accolades came pouring in, and with them, a sense of accomplishment. Yet beneath the surface something felt amiss. The praise, though well-intentioned, began to feel wrong, hollow, as if it was masking a deeper, more unsettling truth. The praise felt wrong, hollow. It gnawed at her, a persistent unease that she couldn't shake. She began to question the authenticity of the program, the sincerity of the compliments, and the true intentions behind the seemingly supportive environment. Her doubts about Vayne grew. The charismatic leader who once seemed like a guiding light now appeared shrouded in mystery. His methods, once inspiring, now seemed manipulative. She couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something was terribly wrong. His techniques, while seemingly benign on the surface, had an insidious undercurrent. The constant self-analysis, the emphasis on group unity, the subtle erosion of individual identity, it was all designed to mold them, to shape them into something they were not. The lines between her true self and the persona she was being molded into were blurring.
One evening, I overheard a conversation. It was late, and the usually bustling halls were eerily quiet. The shadows seemed to stretch longer, and the air was thick with tension. Two staff members, their voices hushed but urgent, spoke of a process. A process that was never mentioned in any of the sessions. A process that seemed to be reserved for those who dared to question or resist. A method to deal with those who questioned, who resisted. My blood ran cold. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just about self-improvement. It was about control, manipulation, and something far more sinister. I had to find out more. This wasn't just self-help. It was a facade, a carefully constructed illusion designed to ensnare and control. The more I uncovered, the more I realized how deep the deception ran. This was something far more sinister. The cracks in the facade were widening, and the truth was beginning to seep through. It was only a matter of time before everything came crashing down.
Section 4, The Shadow of Echelon Rising.
I started digging deeper. Late at night, while the other attendees slept, I explored the retreat center. I discovered hidden cameras, their lenses watching every corner. I found files, locked away in a desk drawer, filled with disturbing reports of psychological manipulation and coercion. The process was real, and it was brutal.
Vayne, she realized, was a master manipulator. He preyed on the vulnerable, exploiting their insecurities for his own gain. He created an environment of dependence, where questioning was discouraged, and disobedience was met with swift and often cruel punishment. Sienna had stumbled into a nightmare. Section 5, Revelation in the Archives.
Deep within the retreat center, hidden beneath layers of security, lay the archives. It was a place few knew existed, and even fewer had ever seen. The air was thick with the weight of secrets, and the walls seemed to whisper tales of the past. Driven by a need for the truth, I bypassed the security systems. Each step was a calculated risk, every breath held in anticipation. The hum of the security cameras was a constant reminder of the danger I was in. I found myself surrounded by shelves upon shelves of files. Each file represented a life, a story, meticulously documented and stored away. The sheer volume was overwhelming, a testament to the organization's reach and control. Each one a life dissected, analyzed, and controlled. The notes were detailed, the documents highlighted with precision. It was clear that nothing escaped their scrutiny. And then I found it. My own file. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. Every detail of my life, every secret I thought was mine alone, laid bare in those pages.
They knew. They had always known. The whispers in the dark, the suspicious glances, it all made sense now. They knew she was an imposter, that she was there to expose them. The disguise, the careful planning, it was all for naught. They had seen through it all. Her heart pounded in her chest. The fear was palpable, a living, breathing entity that threatened to consume her. She had to get out. The walls seemed to close in, the corridors twisted and turned, each one looking the same. Panic set in, but she couldn't afford to lose her head. She had to warn the others. The phone felt heavy in her hand, the urgency in her voice unmistakable. They needed to know, they needed to be prepared, but it was too late. The realization dawned on her as the door closed slowly, sealing her fate. The door swung open, and there he stood, Arlo Vayne. His presence was imposing, his demeanor unyielding. His eyes, once warm, were now cold and calculating. The man she once trusted was now her greatest adversary. Section 6. The Escape. This is the story of a daring attempt to break free from the clutches of a powerful organization.
You shouldn't be here, Sienna. This place is not safe for you anymore.
His voice was deceptively calm, masking the danger that lurked beneath his words. She knew what that meant. The calm before the storm, the silence before the chaos. They were going to make her disappear. Erase her existence as if she never mattered. Make her another success story, another testament to the power of Echelon rising. A name to be forgotten in the annals of their so-called progress. But Sienna was not giving up. She had a fire within her, a determination that could not be extinguished. She had seen the truth, the hidden documents, the secrets they tried so hard to bury. And she would be damned if she let Vayne silence her. She confronted him, her voice unwavering.
Thinking fast, I grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher. The only weapon I had in that moment. I sprayed it, creating a cloud of confusion. The room filled with smoke, obscuring their vision. I used the distraction to my advantage, slipping past Vayne and into the labyrinthine corridors of the center. Each turn, each hallway, a step closer to freedom. I could hear footsteps behind me, their pursuit relentless. The echo of their steps a constant reminder of the danger. But I would not be caught. Not tonight. Tonight I would reclaim my freedom, no matter the cost.
Section 7. Scars of Manipulation.
My exposé sent shockwaves through the nation. The world watched in horror as the truth about Arlo Vayne and Echelon Rising unfolded. Arrests were made, victims came forward, the empire crumbled, but the scars of manipulation ran deep. For me, the experience was life-altering. I had stared into the abyss of human cruelty and emerged forever changed.
The fight for justice was over, but the battle against manipulation, against the insidious allure of control, was far from won. Sienna knew this, and she would continue to fight. For herself, and for all those who had been silenced. Section 8. Analysis and Takeaways. At its core, the story of Arlo Vayne and Echelon Rising reveals a powerful psychological truth. Our minds are wired to respond to charisma, validation, and a sense of purpose. These are not weaknesses, they're human. But in the hands of someone manipulative, they can become tools of control. Arlo's tactics were methodical. He used his charisma to create trust and bypass skepticism, a phenomenon psychologists call heuristic thinking. When someone sounds confident, we tend to believe they're credible, even if we lack evidence. Arlo used this to plant himself as a beacon of hope for his followers, making them more susceptible to his deeper agenda. But his real power lay in his understanding of vulnerability. Everyone has cracks, whether it's insecurity, loneliness, or a longing for transformation. Arlo didn't just exploit these cracks, he widened them. His method of emotional isolation, like encouraging followers to cut ties with their families, is a classic tactic used by cult-like leaders. It removes external influences that could challenge his authority, leaving his followers dependent on him for guidance and validation. What's truly chilling is how Arlo disguised exploitation as empowerment. He made his followers feel stronger and more capable, but only through his rules. This is the hallmark of manipulation, creating an illusion of growth while quietly eroding autonomy. True empowerment doesn't create dependency, it fosters independence and critical thinking. Sienna's story reminds us that awareness is the greatest defense against manipulation. Her skepticism and willingness to question Arlo's methods helped her uncover the truth. But even she wasn't immune to the allure of his charisma, highlighting just how subtle and powerful these tactics can be. So what's the lesson here? It's this: always question, even when something feels good, especially when it feels good. Manipulators thrive on our desire for easy solutions or profound transformation. Pause, reflect, and trust your instincts. True growth comes from within, not from surrendering control to someone else. Ultimately, Echoes of Control is more than a story of one man's manipulation. It's a reminder of how important it is to protect our minds and our autonomy. Because when we understand the tools of manipulation, we take away their power.